That's very helpful.
Welcome. Today is Tuesday, October 14th, 2025. We are here in the Fayette County School Corporation admin building. Please stand for the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first up is Steve Duncan.
Good evening. How are all of you tonight? I will try to be very brief. I'm actually brought Mrs. Frank, Amy Frank, with us. I'm going to let her talk a little bit about her exercise science program. There's not a lot of things interesting about me. We have a lot of people in our building that do a lot of great things. So all the credit goes to those people. Also want to say, hope Mr. Duncan's at home feeling well and recovering as we're all thinking about him. So I'm going to let her come up. She's our exercise science teacher. For those of you who aren't aware, exercise science was new last year. So we're in our second year. So now we're going to that cycle of having year one, year two kids at the same time. Also, what kind of curriculum are we building for the second years? It's different from what the first years are doing. So I'm going to let her explain that. Once again, thank you for all of your support. Come see me for a tour.
I will.
All right. But I will let Amy speak on that. She does a wonderful job. She has great passion for kids, and she's very student oriented. So we're very appreciative of her and happy to have her on our staff. So I'll let her take it over from here.
Hello. I'll just tell you a little bit about myself, the program, and then if you have questions, I guess you can just ask at the end. So I'm a physical therapist, have worked lots of different types of settings from pediatrics to geriatrics. So I have a lot of history and background in that. And then when this opportunity came up, I was really excited about it. I thought it sounded like a lot of fun. So this program is designed for kids that are looking to go into physical, occupational therapy, athletic training, personal training, really any area that involves the human body and movement. So we have some that are looking to be chiropractors, doctors, lots of different things that it covers. So in the first year of the program, they're getting 11 college credits through Vincennes University. So we're studying kinesiology, biomechanics, all the human body systems, a lot of health related things because there's a health class. So it covers a lot of content in that first year. It's very academic in nature. So it's a challenge to try to tailor that to the kids who are passionate about wanting to be a doctor or a physical therapist, as well as the kids who are just in there because they're interested in exercise potentially. So the second year of the program, this is our first year for that, so we're figuring it out. They just started doing job shadowing opportunities, so 2 days a week they're out into clinics, gyms, nursing homes, hospitals, wherever their area of interest is. We've placed them with therapists and personal trainers and different people so that they can shadow them. So they're doing that 2 days a week. They're in the classroom 3 days a week. And while they're in the classroom, they're working on their personal trainer certification. So that's an online program through NASM, which is accredited. It's an excellent program that they're working through. Once they finish this year of the program, they'll all be personal trainers. So that's pretty exciting. So they can go in straight into the industry and work, which another benefit of that is that you're supposed to be 18 to be a personal trainer. And so they have made that exception for us, that our students are allowed to get that as they complete our program. So some of them will be 17, 16 even potentially, depending on how old they are when they come in. So that's an exciting benefit. So they could go straight into the workforce as personal trainers right out of high school, wellness coaches, work in a rehab department, maybe as a wellness aide, things like that. So trying to cover a lot of, we have a lot of guest speakers that come in from different professions, just to give kind of a lot of information about what it takes to become one, whatever it might be. We just recently had an exercise physiologist that came in, which was new for me even. She works in cardiac rehab, so that was another avenue that we had not explored. So now some of the students are interested in that as well. So that's kind of what we're doing. I don't know if anybody has any questions about the program or what we're covering.
Amy, are you working with Reed for some of your stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. We have several students that are placed in Connersville and in Richmond with Reed with Reed professionals. So we have some in pediatric therapy, athletic training clinic up in Richmond. The PACE Center, we don't have anybody there right now, but we have communicated with them about potentially putting someone there next semester. So, and that's the other thing is they're going to rotate. So they have an 8-week rotation at one location, and then in the next semester we're going to do an 8-week rotation somewhere different. That's cool.
Are all their credits, they get them from Vincennes University, are these transferable to like Ivy Tech or any other
Yes.
Indiana college?
They are there. There's never that guarantee, I don't think, of being class for class.
No,
but the credits are going to
But
transfer.
the credits are going to
Yes.
transfer? Okay.
And Vincennes also offers a physical therapist assistant program, which is kind of neat too. We did a field trip last year, so we went and saw that program, kind of talked through what the classes were. The kids were excited because they felt like they already knew a lot of what they were talking about, so that was kind of nice for them to get that too.
How many students do you have enrolled in your class?
We have 38 currently. That's first and second years together.
And
So-
what-
Oh, go ahead.
And one of your students that graduated from your program, Harley Morris, was actually the Lilly Scholar last year. So
Yes. And I had one of the, what are they called, finalists or whatever?
Yeah.
One of them this year was in my program, but then she opted out just because of scheduling issues too. So I was excited to see that she was on the list this year. But Harley, she was a senior, so she only got to do 1 year of the program, but she highly recommends it. She comes back and talks to the students, and she's been really good for marketing for us, for the program, and then she intends to she wants to pursue physical therapy, so that's the direction she's going.
And when the kids do clinicals and they're not, like say they're from Rushville, do you have opportunities in Rushville for
Yes.
those students as well?
Mhm. We have a student at Rush Memorial in the therapy department. I have communicated with Love, the new rec center, because they have personal trainers, massage therapists, a lot of different avenues, so. Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Eastview.
Hi there. Hello. I'm Kate Charlton, the proud principal of Eastview Elementary School, and here with me is Miss Sherry Fagley. She is one of our kindergarten teachers, and she is the committee head for our family nights. So we just had our Eastview Fallapalooza. It's our biggest Eastview event, so I'm going to let Sherry talk a little bit about our event, and we have a video for you guys.
So for Fallapalooza, we invite families in many different things. So we had trunk or treat out front, we had book fair going on in the gym, we had silly safari going on in the library, plus we had book walks and food in the cafeteria. So it was a really great opportunity for families to come in, and our staff was out in full force and interacting with all of them, and it was just a wonderful experience for us. So had a really good time. We had face painters from the high school, cheerleaders, lots of
National Honor
National
Society.
Honor Society. We even had one of our former students come back, Jessie, was very excited to be able to come back and be a support for the night too. So it was a wonderful event, and we've been very fortunate with the family committee. We've done several different things, and we've applied for grants to help support those, such as our challenges that we have each month for our families. We give them a calendar of activities. If they do 8 of the 12, they get put in the pool for a drawing. So it's all family activities that they can do at home. Most of it doesn't cost money at all. It's make dinner together or go on a fall walk and look for leaves and different changes in the area. Sit down and actually play games at home. So lots of types of activities that they can do. We also have a coffee at the curb where we say thank you to our parents for all that they do, and we serve them coffee as they pull up and drop their kids off. And then we have our program that we do in the spring, which is our STEAM nights. And we had our first one last year, and it was very successful. Everybody loved it, and we're going to do it again and probably do it bigger. So there you go.
Does that translate to you getting parents involved in other ways in the building when you're doing all that?
We do. I mean, we had I feel like it was our biggest turnout ever. I mean, we were packed. We had parents everywhere, not in the front lot, we had in the cafeteria, in the halls, the gym. It was just it's our favorite night probably. Fallapalooza is a lot of planning on our end, and it's a lot of late nights and decorating and
Yes.
all of those things, extra meetings, but it's worth it for the families, and the kids love it. They get to
Yes.
dress up, and we had families dressing up with them, and
Yeah.
just a good night.
It's
So
a
we
great
do have
night.
some pictures to show you, a little video clip, about a minute, so enjoy that.
Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. A shrieking skull will shock your soul.
Door contest.
Spooky, scary skeletons and secrets such a screech. You'll shake and shiver and survive when you lose one.
Yeah.
That was cute.
So sorry, skeleton, you're so misunderstood. Only one deception. Don't beat me up. A spooky, scary skeleton shouts startling shrill screams. The sneak wonders of
That's just a snippet of all the things we do, and
I love
so
the doors.
I walk that neighborhood, I live in the Eastview District, and I walk the neighborhood, and obviously they know that I'm the board, and I've had parents come up to me and say, oh, that was so cool, the kids enjoyed it, it was such a good family time, there were so many different kinds of activities, and in my neighborhood, Eastview rocks. It's just really cool. And
We think so.
I recognize some of the kids in there that
Sure,
came up to me and they said, did you see? I said, well, I wish I'd come over, but I didn't. But it was just really, the kids enjoyed it, so.
Well, we have such good community support too, so it wouldn't be possible without the community. I mean, we had lots of sponsors, the fire department, the police departments, they all come out. The high school, you know, all of their kids come out and help us, and it just wouldn't be the same without all of them. So we do appreciate that too. And like I said, it's a great event. We love it, and we'll keep doing it for years to come. And we're just known as the Fallapalooza School.
Sherry, who supplied the tarantula, I noticed?
Oh, yeah.
We used to own one.
That was Silly Safari.
I actually had a picture and we didn't get it into the video. I sent it to her after the video was created. But the Silly Safari lady had a boa constrictor around her neck and the tarantula on her head walking around.
Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah. And the armadillo was probably.
I want to know if it was Charlotte's offspring, though.
The armadillo, the owl.
Charlotte was single, she didn't.
Charlotte was
And the parents loved.
He had his
all the
own
animals. It was.
tarantula. He had his own
I know.
Charlotte.
Charlotte, we know.
Oh,
Yes.
everybody.
Sherry was very
Cynthia used to ring it all the time. Yes.
Yeah, and Charlotte is no longer with us, and we,
Little angel wings.
we celebrated, we had a celebration for Charlotte back in the day.
And Sherry, how long have you been teaching now?
This is year 32.
Awesome. Sherry,
That's awesome.
32 years in kindergarten.
4 years in Head Start and the rest in kindergarten, yes.
Do you have wings sprouting from your,
She's got a halo already.
Yeah, it's kind of off to the side a little bit, but yes. Sure. Sure.
She's got another 30 years left in her. So.
Right. Not 30.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's great. It was cute.
Gibraltar.
kids love to
Follow
do
that.
We give you the hardest things to follow.
Do you have a tarantula in your back pocket?
No.
It's your turn.
But Mike and I did arrive early to drive around to try to see the school, and we in Fayette County, a 4,000-year-old school that was found.
Yeah,
Yes.
by the river.
By the
Yeah.
river.
What? Can you investigate that, Chris?
Oh, well, we got people that are.
Okay, that are on top of it.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah,
Those type of
that's
people.
awesome.
Yeah, it was along the old canal.
Oh goodness.
That's just awesome.
And it's national news, I mean, obviously, so. Well, thank you for letting us join again. We are returning, if you remember, a continuation of our conversation about Easter, how appropriate to hear all the great things that are happening at Eastview and then talk about Eastview. And also, my entire life when I see kindergarten teachers, I just say, thank you. You kindergarten teachers are different. In like a way of like appreciation that most people can't do what you do. So thank you for all that you do. And then you do extra things like that. That's pretty amazing. And I'm talking about touching tarantulas and stuff like that.
And it was fun. I petted the owl, the boa, the armadillo was super cool. So, yeah.
Well, thank you for letting us return. Continuation of the conversation. And if I take us back a little bit, if you remember when we went through the preliminary determination hearing, at that time you went through the project hearing 1 and 2, and it was to authorize to spend up to $15 million. That doesn't mean that you are spending $15 million. And the reason why we went through that process was because at that time we were determining, do we do the addition? Do we do the first responder? Do we do additional parking? And all of that was going to creep up to that amount. To get a little bit more time and wrap our minds around the money that was going to be involved, we're returning today with a little bit more refined estimating that you'll see on the two options. The best way I can explain it would be when you go to search for a home, you go to the bank, you get authorized from the bank, say, we will authorize to let you spend up to we will loan you $250,000 for a home. You go and you search for a home, you find the right home and it's $180,000 or $190,000, that's great. That does not mean that you go get the loan for $250,000. What you end up doing is you're only going to spend what you are ended up deciding on which option today. And so that means, like just as in your family, that leaves future capacity for future spending. So the next process for this is when you land on the option, you determine option 1 or option 2. There'll be some other additional steps from Ice Miller to then go with to Baker Tilly to sell the bonds. And that would be only for the amount that you're deciding to spend. It is not the 15 million, the full amount that you were authorized to. That was more of that flexibility. So what we're bringing you today is much less than that. And then as you determine how to move forward, you will only be bonding the amount that you choose.
Does that, do I remember that there's not a deadline, but a time frame that we have to do that with Ice Miller?
Yes, and it is closing that out towards the end of the year, and that is for the bonds.
Before the first of next year?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
But again, just want to, the 15 million was only to give you that flexibility and time to decide which route you wanted to go. Because when we first had the conversation, we weren't quite sure. We wanted to vet out. Remember, if we looked at doing an addition and going below for additional storage, all of that was going to be within the threshold. What you move forward with is the only part that you will bond. That's
So
it.
this is not part, when I'd asked, I don't remember which meeting, but I'd asked if we take out for this amount or say this amount 15, but we only use 10, is that stuck in that building or can you use it elsewhere and whatever? the
You are
maintenance?
authorized to spend that. If you don't spend that, that is future capacity for the district to choose to use it however they see fit.
So when you go for the bond and you give like, it will be 12 million or whatever million, that's the amount that you're going to get the bond for, or you're getting the bond for the 15 million?
No, the bond would be specific to the project at Eastview, which would be from a family structure, then that means that your bank still would loan you $5 million more. If you only choose to spend 10 or 11, that remaining amount, they will choose to spend on whatever, they'll loan for you to use in other needs within the district.
But not at this time?
Not at this time, you'll have to do additional steps for that. This was only to give you flexibility in Eastview only.
And that could be used for another building?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yep, we'll have to go through the process again.
Right, yes.
Ice
Yeah.
Miller will be here because it would be a separate borrowing amount, but it does not mean that 15 million means that you can only spend 15 million on Eastview and that's it. It just means that you are only spending 10 or 11. The rest can go to whatever you need to, but you'll just have to do future legal steps. But, you know, if you say,
So we qualified for a $15 million loan.
actually
Yes.
qualified for much more than that,
Yeah, but that's what we asked for.
but that's all you asked for.
We asked for a $15 million loan, we qualified for that. So it will take some paperwork and the like if we spend 10, 11 at Eastview. But we still have that capacity out there.
Mhm.
And we just have to go through the
Yes.
processes.
The only additional step that we did was to give you more time and flexibility is if in July, we would have said, you know what, this is it, we know we want to do, and there were still some questions on some other buildings that you were still learning some information and still going to learn. So at that time, if you would have said, we don't want to do the addition or we want to do a small addition, this is how much it's going to be, the project hearing would have been for exactly that amount because you would have been locked in and you knew we want to spend 11 million Eastview, this is it, project hearing for that. The fact that we weren't quite there yet, it just gave you some flexibility. Any other questions? Because that's a very important question.
That's all I.
That helps, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's what all on mine.
Yes, that was,
And it would be on my mind because the way that it's set up is rather
Yes.
confusing, but we also didn't want to trap you into saying at that time, we only want to do this at Eastview, and a month in, you're like, maybe it would have been better to do this instead of that and add on, and we wouldn't have been able to do that then. We would have been locked into the project hearing. We just gave ourselves flexibility with the project hearing. So we are here today to talk about two of the options. You guys have been through these pre-slides probably 9 different times, so I won't spend time talking about your mission and your vision and the long-range planning that you put into place. We'll get to the point right now where we just let Mike walk you through both options we're very excited about. We want to thank the team for reviewing this with us to make sure that they had a voice in, you know, if we were to go with option 1, what we wanted them to do is feel comfortable with both options. Even if you land on option 1, we wanted to make sure it was not going to just meet their needs, it was going to exceed, you know, what they expected at Eastview. And if you went with option 2, we wanted to make sure that that fit as well. So we're going to walk through, just make sure that you understand both. And then our goal is hopefully to give you enough information and confidence to move forward one of the options so that we can continue with the construction documents and stay on the schedule. So, yes.
One of the things I noticed on here, when we initially talked about doing the Eastview project, the roof was not on there. That's something that upon further looking at it, we determined it needed to get done.
Mhm.
But that was not in the original plan, correct?
Right, and it is still reflected in the estimates that you'll see today.
Okay.
So new roof, and also one additional thing for conversations with the school team about how they use that front parking lot and making sure that we have a heavy duty, you know, parking lot for multiple buses to be in there, also the transfer buses and all of that. So that is also what you'll see in both options today as well. So at this time, I'm going to bring up Mike Rosillo. We're happy to keep this informal. If you have any questions, we'll walk through those.
Thank you, Chris. Remember last time we presented the option for special needs, special ed, there was a strong desire to locate that addition on the west side of the school, close to the cafeteria, close to parent drop-off. And we learned that that option was very expensive because basically it was built on the side of the hill. It had deep foundations. It was just really expensive. And Skillman put together some numbers for that. And I think it was approaching like around 15 million for the total project cost. So going back to the drawing board, I was like, I couldn't help but think that, you know, they really liked that option. It had its own community. It had a flex classroom that could be used, if not all for special needs in there. So I went back to the drawing table, and I'm going to show you a floor plan of what that can look like. And you're going to see two very good options. One option is a renovation option. That basically is your 3 special needs classroom in the footprint that you have now, just reorganized a little bit differently. And then the second option, what if we do a little bit of renovation and a small addition and get the 4 classrooms in there, and what that might cost. And Skillman looked at that, and you'll see as we'll talk through, it comes in maybe at a fraction of what was presented to you previously.
with that in mind, it's like, this is a pretty darn good idea. Let's get the team on board and let's talk about it. So we got together with Kim, Superintendent Duncan, Jim, Daryl, Principal Kate Charlton, and the Special Ed Director Megan Gillum. So we got together and looked at it, and all of them are in agreement. Both are good options. You know, if option 2 is a factor because of the cost or whatever, option 1 will work. So both options work. So keep that in mind as you look at them today. Starting with the site plan, I just wanted to say for both options, the parking, as Chris was alluding to, on the site is on the east side of the property. That parking area will need to be, because will have some bus traffic on it, buses parking, buses turning in that space. Will need to improve the pavement to be heavy-duty asphalt. So we're increasing the thickness of the asphalt in that construction. So there's a dollar figure to that. This option here shows how 5 buses could actually be lined up tail end to tail end, and that's possible if we add sidewalks on the end of the parking lot and allow the students to get on the sidewalk and walk to the front door. So there's a way for 5 buses to line on there. It also has option for buses that park, a few buses that park in that spot now. So we know that the parking lots will be interchangeable. You know, you'll have some bus traffic in the south lot as well as the east lot. Life Skills will continue to be from the south parking area and from the same entrance. This option shows the location. This site plan shows the location of the addition for option 2, which would be in the existing play area, the mulch area of soft clay. So whatever's displaced by the addition would be added on to the play area, and that there happens to be a swing set where that addition is shown currently. So let me go to the next slide and walk through the floor plan. Oops. There we go. Oh, sorry. Very sensitive. Okay. Again, this is a renovation option. Currently, you have 2 special needs classrooms on the west side of the building, and then there's art/music classroom. If you use those 2 spaces in the art/music classroom, you can fit 3 of the special needs classrooms in there, and you could have a restroom facility, 2 restroom facilities, a sensory room, a laundry room in there. The trade-off on this one here is, even though it's a community, you still have to go out in the hallway to get from one of the classrooms to the other classroom and or sensory room and or the restrooms. Either that or you walk through one of the classrooms to get to those restrooms. The special needs classroom that's located across from kindergarten currently now would get shifted over there, and so that kind of shifts, reorganizes the placement of some of the grade levels. So you still have kindergarten where you have now. You have 2 first grade, 2 second, 3rd, and 4th grade on the north wing. The art and music could happen next to the front entry. That's the closest location as a specials to the life skills area in there. If you move that, that would be the closest and central to the entire building. And then on the the south wing, you would locate your special ed resource over there. It's basically the same size of what it is now, which is where I'm showing the art and music. It would move from there to where I'm showing here on the plan now. And then your flex classroom across the hall for that, and then grades 5 and 6. Nothing happens in all this white area other than like we did at Frazee. We're doing new finishes, mechanical systems, and things like that. So that's no different than what we've shown before. It's just a matter of how you relabel the classrooms. Going to the next option, and again, this includes, like, in addition to what we did at Frazee, we are calling out a re-roof on this building as well. Oops. All right, option 2. This is basically the same concept that you saw with the addition, where you've got 4 classrooms in a community, close to the cafeteria, close to where Life Skills drops off students now. 3 Life Skills, And if you move a fourth life skills, then you have 4 classrooms of life skills. If you don't move life skills here, that gives you a flex classroom, the possibility of using it as a flex classroom. You have your special, you have like a common area for special needs, sensory area, restroom, laundry room, all accessible to that small community. You don't have the other students in school walking down the hall through your, around the classrooms. They have their own self-contained area in an ideal location in the floor plan. Other than that, everything else in the building is the same as option 1. I'll leave it up to you. Both are good options. We heard favors for one option versus other, but everybody agreed that if option 1 was the way to go, that's better than what you have now, and it would work for your special needs program.
So does option 1, does it have doorways in it inside the life skill rooms to tie them all together?
Yes.
It does?
Yeah. And there's also a possibility if they want to have a door to the exterior, to the playgrounds too.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's probably better. That probably
Do
could-
they have those walls that you can open, like?
Yeah.
Meaning in between the classrooms?
Yeah.
We didn't talk about that.
I didn't know if that's even necessary, asking.
It is,
They're hard for sound.
yeah, well,
Oh.
you can do the sound and everything. It also takes a wall where you might have casework needed for casework.
Oh, right.
These,
Yeah.
the folding walls that you're talking about are more expensive than
Okay.
a regular wall, and we did not include that kind of construction.
Right, plus if the sound isn't great and we need the wall space for other things, that's,
Yeah.
I didn't know, I was asking that.
But it's possible.
No, I was just asking if it included that, but that's fine.
We have not, and we will eventually get down to the details and of all these spaces with the principal and administration about all the details of the project. But right now, this is more of a concept showing where these classrooms can be located. The next slide is prepared by Skillman. I gave them these drawings, and Victor and his team were able to put together some numbers. I think you've seen the number for option 1 previously. That doesn't really change from what you saw for the renovation of the life skills. That all falls within this budget here.
How big are the restrooms?
For life skills are a little bit larger than an ADA room. It's going to be large enough so you can put a table in there to change kids in each of the restrooms, plus a room for a wheelchair to move
They'll
about
be
in
bigger
space.
than what's in there now?
Yeah, probably.
That's what
Yeah,
I,
there's 2 of them, correct?
There will be 2 restrooms in both options.
because the size that's there now, that's not gonna work.
Right, I mean, it'll be designed so it's sized large enough for a cot, like I said, or a changing table, and for somebody to actually work with the student in that space, plus using the facility itself. So they are larger restrooms. I don't know if you can relate to square footages, but for an ADA restroom, it's about 50 square feet. Okay, these are in the neighborhood of about 80 square feet each. It gives you an idea how big they might be.
So in option 2, and I think this is something that we talked about when we were touring the building, option 2 has, for lack of a better word, a bump out that would increase the size of the restroom, correct?
No, those are life skill rooms.
Those are
Deal
life,
skill.
And the restrooms.
So
are
in
bigger.
option 2, we added rooms and didn't make the bathrooms bigger. Sorry, I'm just trying
There's
to
still
catch it all.
bathrooms.
well, I'm trying to
There's still a
figure out,
bathroom in
looking
between.
at this.
Option 2 has 4 classrooms, and there's a restroom, with
One
there's
is
2
more in
restrooms.
line
One
with
serves
the
2 bathrooms, the other one
One
serves
is
2. So you can
Okay.
get into those restrooms directly from the classroom without going in the common area or in the corridor.
Okay,
Yeah, one's closer to what we.
yeah,
That's what I was
yeah,
saying.
well, that's, you
Closer.
That is
brought
very
that up
close, yeah.
when we were going through the building, so.
Kate, what was your observation when you met with the team? What did you, I'm just curious about your opinion.
As far as the options, I
Yeah.
preferred option 2, gives them a little bit more wiggle room. One of the rooms is significantly smaller right now, that you probably have seen that on your visits. So it'll give them a little bit more space. It's pretty crammed. So I don't want to say concerned, but like going after that playground area, but it really is a good spot to have an addition. That playground equipment that's there now, it needs to be replaced anyway. It probably shouldn't, it really shouldn't exist, but we're making it work, we're trying to make all those improvements to the playground, so if that gets even replaced further, I think is a good option too for the kids. And then, our rooms are getting pretty full in life skills, so it gives us the option to spread them out a little bit more too, so they're not as cramped. So, again, both options work fine, we'll make anything work. But I did prefer option 2, I think it works.
How about the
better for flow.
relocation of art and music and all the other things that are the same for both options?
Yes,
You
correct.
thought that was workable for the rest of your buildings?
Yeah, I think they did a really good job of listening to all the needs and.
Great.
Megan Gilman also felt really comfortable too with the options.
What's the total square footage increase from the bump out?
1,600 square feet. So this plan, I want to make sure it's understood. The two life skill classrooms you have now, one is 600 and, I don't know, I think it's probably about 610, 620 square feet. The larger of the two is like somewhere in the neighborhood of 800, a little bit more than 800 square feet. So if you take the average of that, it's about 620. The new classrooms are 750 square feet each. Okay, so they're a little bit larger than the average two size there. So we didn't get into talking about the exact sizes. I think as we start talking about details, if we need to work out a few extra square feet, we can do that.
So wait, clarify for me. So Kate said one of those rooms of the 3 is smaller. Are you saying
Yes.
with the option 3, that remains what she said with one smaller and the 2?
No, they'll all be the same size.
They'd all be bigger?
They'd all be 700.
The one would, okay,
Yeah, that doesn't include the restroom.
right.
Just the classroom, the instructional space, about 750 square feet for each of those classrooms. Actually, it's closer to 800 square feet, because I said there's a 1,600 square addition. So we will work out the details, I think, on that. If we need to add 10, 20 square feet, or it's okay the way it is, we'll work that out. But right now, we're in the neighborhood of about 1,600 square foot addition, which before, gosh, I don't remember what it was.
But I'm talking
before.
about the option 1, where there's just the 3 classrooms, but those 2 would, that would also be 3 of the same size?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Remind me again because there's the design contingency, which says 10%, and then there's the soft cost, there's the furniture allowance, but the soft cost says 25% and says it includes items such as furniture, technology, equipment, devices, contingencies, and a lot of other things, but,
Yeah.
so why are all 3 needed if they're in this soft cost? Because for that soft cost, 25%, we could get the site work, building addition, less than, that addition and site work is less than this 25% soft cost. So it seems like that would cover.
I kind of see where you're going. The contingency is not something that cost you money. The contingency is there for protection as things surface. As far as they're uncovering something which we've experienced as you go along the way, you have built-in contingency at the end. If you don't use it, it's additional money for the project that stays in the project.
If you're
So
talking
could
about
it
the
we-
10% design contingency on the screen, is that what you're
Yes,
talking
she's
about?
talking about
I
that
have a
and the soft
Couldn't
cost.
we do option 1, that allows us wiggle room like he just said, but do option 2, and if we run out of money, because that additional right here fits in here, and then we also have that and that, so it seems like it would all fit in here, and then if we run out, then we could see what we can do after that.
I better let Skillman answer those questions. Because they're the ones that put these numbers together. I will say the design contingency 10%, because it's such an early design phase, there are a lot of unknowns in their estimating, because they haven't seen our detailed documents yet. So they're protecting it and say, okay, for work that we haven't estimated, we think we got it covered by putting a 10% contingency. The next time they estimate the drawings and it's tighter and has all the detail, you'll see that design contingency will probably go down to 5%. And then during construction, that will probably be gone, because all you have at that time is construction contingency to deal with.
I
And that's
think the
built in.
confusion is, under your soft cost note, or Skillman soft cost note, they include the word furniture.
Yes.
Which is in the furniture allowance. They
Correct.
include the word contingency, so I think that's one thing.
Yes, yeah, I see where you're saying the soft cost might be less because it's spelled out there.
Right, so I think that's the
Correct.
confusing part, is that if you've got that built into soft cost and it's 25%, why do you need the 10%? I think that, I'm just clarifying, I'm
Yes.
thinking that's what they're
Yes.
both saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
As someone who watched the construction of the PowerPoint, numbers came from Skillman. The footnote is from Gibraltar, that we typically use, so that's why you see, it's like
Overlap.
a disclaimer at the bottom to know what's included in soft costs. Skillman broke it out even more detailed in theirs.
Okay.
So I think the question that you guys have to decide is the common space and the additional classroom
Yep.
for Eastview worth the additional 1.6?
I want option 2, but for the price of option 1. And I thought I get convinced.
Now, I don't know if I can do that for you.
Can we get that going?
She wants to
I like-
bargain.
Yes,
I do like
we
that,
need to
but-
negotiate.
She wants to bargain.
Let me
He's
talk
like
to
a-
your people.
I cannot speak for Victor.
I mean, that would be good information to, just to clarify. So what your the design contingency, I think I get that. And I think this contingency under soft cost, there's contingencies within the soft costs, not within the design. Because the way you just explained that, the design contingency is for this period of time until the design is really laid out
Exactly,
and it's finalized, and there could be less, hopefully not more, but less, it could end up being less. But I see what the soft cost inclusion of contingencies are the contingencies within that area. So like furniture, you may think is going to be a certain amount, but maybe it isn't, except that there's a furniture allowance. So that's confusing
Yeah.
why that's under soft
Yeah,
costs as well.
this is a standard typical note we put on these
I
things.
know, I hear you.
And that word that says loose equipment should not be there because he's got it spelled out under furniture allowance. So that budget that's there does include the furniture and loose equipment, so the soft cost may not be 25%, it may be a little bit less. So that number might be a little bit less. We'll talk to Skillman about that.
I think that would help clarify.
Yep.
Yeah, because it looks
But I-
like it's double dipping right
Yes.
now.
But I do
I
understand
hear you.
that soft costs
can
are
use that
part of
money.
the contract, that
Yeah.
that's, we have to allow for soft costs. Just making sure that those aren't, not so much double dipping, but showing us figures that are already here.
Yeah, it needs to be better communicated. Yes.
It's like you said, we don't know what we're.
And
So-
do you know on Frazee or the pool, did we end up having 10% design contingencies, or is that a Skillman question?
It's a
That's my next
Skillman question,
question.
but I also know that as Skillman was doing the estimating, they did not want to be under on these. They wanted you to be well prepared and wanted to make sure. So the numbers are as accurate as they have with the information they have, but we have to go through 3 more design estimates. And so when we get a design estimate, is we spend more time with Kate and we fine tune what the special ed rooms look like. We will bring them back and we actually show you what they look like. And those of you that have been on the board have gone through this process, but we do 3 rounds of that. And every time that we come back and we show you, here's what it looks like,
Specific.
Skillman will come back with more confidence of fine tuned and say, it's gonna be exactly this.
Do you know, I don't want to talk about the pool, but with Frazee, do you know, or maybe I should know, where we landed in terms of, did we end up using that entire soft cost
Right.
fee? Did we end up with that
Yes.
same contingency fee?
Yeah, it is a good question. Skillman tracks every dollar.
I know,
So they would be able to say, we have spent 80% of the soft cost, or 70%, do you have the delta, what's left over?
that's what we need to know.
From what I heard, the answer to that question is yes. Most of everything from the contingency was used up, because there were some things that were added during construction that weren't there during design, and they dug into that contingency.
Remember, we went back and added the additional cabinetry,
Right.
and then there were some additional sinks that we didn't have in our original base bid, so, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they found some stuff that
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why I believe
Yeah.
they have that cost probably a little bit higher, because they don't know, when you're doing the bump out, you don't know what you don't know until you
Well,
get in there.
and you don't know what you're gonna find when they start tearing
Yeah,
things apart.
whereas
Yeah,
if they're staying within
We
the
found some really
parameters.
bad piping that we didn't know
Yeah,
about.
well,
We had to
I
do
knew
that.
that at Frazee, there was some plumbing issues, where the pipe was like this big and it should have been this big, just from
Yeah.
age, so.
No problem. Yes, we have a big problem.
So when is the point where, well, I guess if we're approving the 15 million, we get the opportunity to wait for Skillman to hone the designs, or do we need to commit? When do we need to commit to which option?
Well, as I explained to the group before, we're working around the life skills area in our construction drawings. But Skillman wants to bid that, I think, in February.
Okay.
So we're designed to meet their schedule to go right now. We can tiptoe around the life skills area for a little bit longer, but if it gets to a point that, let's say, for example, you go with option 2, then I got to get, that's a whole different animal because we're doing an addition. I got to get structural engineers involved, all kinds of people involved to do that addition. Right now, I've got everybody on hold until we understand which direction you want to go.
Does, okay, so the soft cost includes engineering, like those professional fees?
Yes.
Project management fees that all come in with that design feature, or additional professional services?
Yeah, now, I shouldn't probably say this, but Gibraltar is not going to come back to you and ask for additional services for structural or some other engineering because they're doing option 2. Follow me?
Yeah.
So even though they're just, if they go that direction, it's more work for them, we'll go ahead and do that, but we're not going to come back and ask for additional fees to design option 2.
Can the addition be included as an alternate bid?
It could be, but it's very complicated because you've got to do 2 sets of floor plans that are complete. It's not an easy, oh, let's add an addition. You have to redesign the interior of the building a little bit differently when you're doing option 2. So it would not be a good alternate.
Okay.
And I would, again, like Skillman weigh in on this, but there are other alternates that could be considered in the project that would allow you to move forward with the addition. And then as the bids come in, make a decision like, may not be a popular, but the front parking lot, the work that has to happen there, or some other pieces that would, design could continue and then decide on that later and accept the alternate to do the parking lot or not do the parking lot. Sorry, Daryl. No.
How many students right now do we have in special ed at Eastview?
Probably 40.
40, I was going to say
Yeah.
40. And it's a
With
growing
several
population.
probably
Right.
Could be qualified.
In 3 class, and you currently have 3 classrooms.
Right.
And we added an additional life skill developmental preschool classroom this year because we have an influx of 3 and 4-year-olds that are going to go more than likely the life skill route. So it is definitely growing population.
And you feel that all of the furniture is needing replaced, is that?
That's our budget. That's a good question. We haven't had new furniture in a long time, it's kind of hodgepodge pieced together, if that makes sense.
That's what I wanted to know.
So, it would be nice, of course, to have it more uniform looking, like some of our desks, I try to piece a couple of them together to, like a lot of teachers are wanting desks now for students instead of tables, so we're trying to find desks, but the finish is so old and worn on them, and they're so rusty.
I just need to hear that to be
Yeah.
okay with that.
Yeah, I've tried to, we've had classrooms without chairs, so I've been ordering chairs, where we try to borrow from other schools who doesn't have that. Like, we're pretty good at sharing as a corporation, I feel like. Like even our conference table, I refinished it myself with some of the help of some of my custodians and, to make it better for our conference room. We're not afraid of the hard work at all, it's just.
Keep in mind what a brand new finished building looks like on the inside with 1960s furniture, that type of thing.
If we were so
I just
fortunate
needed
just to
her
have
to
one
say,
building to redo.
she does need it because so many buildings.
We have
and
so
making
many
sure we're
buildings.
Using every penny.
We have not used updated furniture in a lot of the buildings. The most recent one is Fayette Central and Brazy
Oh, we got new furniture for the,
High School Library.
yeah, because it had been there since 1960.
1960.
Yeah, it had been there since 1969 when we finally replaced it. It was like,
I have a hard time letting things go. I'm really good at collecting, you know, and I'll use it when I need it. I'm good at hiding. And then when I can pull it out when we need it, so.
And what else did we do with the library? We put the new furniture in and left the old lights. So the new furniture wasn't very good looking, and then we put the new lights in. And that's kind of what we did at Francine, that's where we started out lunch, was the end of the back.
We're ready to make a decision on an option, or we want to.
I would like to get an update from Stillman.
yeah, me too.
Just to make sure, I mean, and you know, part of it can just be that Gibraltar's note isn't necessarily in sync with the way Skillman does their thing, so, you know, like furniture, whatever, land survey, I mean, actually, that is, like Sasha said, you know, we've got the building addition and related site work. I'm guessing it's just the language can throw people off.
I would love to see the finances, to see what we actually use.
So if we wait till next meeting, we're still gonna be, like, you guys will still be in time to do.
If we have to go to the next meeting, we'll have to talk to Skillman about redoing the schedule, pushing it back later in the spring or something like that.
Now, meanwhile, we're still working on things that we know are gonna be the same in option 1 or 2, so we can still continue to make advancements. That's just that new addition part that week is where we will stop until we hear from you guys how to proceed.
I think some of the trepidation, you know, we had our presentation on the tax, the AV and property tax and changes, and it's scary, you know, because we know that we're already losing money, we're not getting money from the state, everybody knows all that stuff, that's old news. But, you know, to me, like, the amount difference for the addition is worth it, obviously. You know, we're talking about, you know, 1.5 million difference, and you get a whole other classroom, which I know is a big deal, and the site work and all that. And I think in the bigger picture, and something the board is not fully informed on yet, is, okay, somewhere along the line, somebody set our borrowing capacity after this addition, and I can't remember which addition amount they originally thought we were doing with Eastview, but they said 16 million would be left. That was the woman from
Yeah.
Yes.
Baker Tilly.
Yes.
Baker Tilly.
Baker
Yes.
I
Tilly.
can't remember her name, but anyway, red hair.
Yeah.
Lindsay.
And Lindsay, and I'm not sure if she was referring to the original plan for Eastview, which was closer to 15 million with on the west side and all the site work and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then she said we had 16 million capacity after that.
When she
So
ran
maybe
the
now
numbers,
we have 17 or 18 million.
Yeah, when she ran the numbers that night, it was based on what you were gonna authorize, move to authorize to spend, which is the 15.
The 15 million,
So all
so,
of her projections and all of that, which means you will have more capacity in
right.
the future.
No.
So we'd have like 3.5 million more than the 16 million, so close to 20 million. And yeah, we've got in the back here, one of those pages, the 4-year plan, the 5 to 9 year plan, and there's a lot there, you know. So, and, you know, a couple more buildings, at least. So I think that's the concern. And technically $1.5 million is, when you're doing a project like this, is not huge for what you're getting, but I think that's kind of where the rubber meets the road, I think, for the board. I don't want to speak for everybody, but I know that that's the concern.
So for clarification for them, you want to have a clarification on the note of the soft cost as well as
Right,
the budget.
and if we need to make that decision within the next 2 to 3 weeks before the next meeting, we could have a special meeting, because we can vote in a special meeting. And if either Skillman wanted to come, or if they provided information to the board so that we had the information and then we could meet and make that decision, yes. I don't know that we need to wait a month if we had the information.
No.
We have,
Yeah.
we have
No,
the-
we just need the information.
we just need the information
And we
because,
can
So maybe we do a work session.
you know,
Yeah,
I think we're all just very, very, very concerned about overextending ourselves because we simply, with the way the government is working right now, or not working as the case may be, you know, where our funding is coming from when we see that we have lost students, we are losing money from the state. We don't want to find ourselves in the fiscal position as too many other school corporations have found themselves in over the years, and our options to get out of that are not the same as the ones were with previous school corporations such as Muncie, Gary, and some of the others that had been taken over. We want to be fiscally responsible, and
Part of the reason that you're in this situation to be able to make this decision is because you historically have a board that has been that way.
right.
And so we appreciate that every dollar, every decision, while you're putting kids' needs first, you're also looking at the bigger picture, and you mentioned, we did the full facility study. Eastview isn't the only building that has needs. And so we respect that. The fact that we would come back is fine with us, and having Skillman to be able to work through some of these kind of questions that you have about the estimates to feel full confidence. We will probably have to, as Mike mentioned, talk to them about the schedule, because they have a prime bidding time
right.
that they want to get contractors engaged for the summer, and so want to make sure that that's within the window. So the sooner, the better.
Yeah, so if we could schedule a special meeting in 2 weeks, I don't know if it's better to have everybody there and just explain it to us and then we vote, or if we get the information ahead of time.
And technically, you don't have to vote. It's
No,
just,
it's
it's nice
oh.
to move forward with consensus.
Got it.
Yes.
Could the meeting be shorter than 2 weeks from now? Could it
Like
be-
next week? Have it be next
If we
week?
can get the,
Like,
I mean,
you want me
I
to go
We
get-
can-
get the information emailed to us.
I can bring Brock Boucher to speak to you, and I'll go pick up Victor, and then I'll bring it back.
Like right now?
Right now.
We'll still be here, maybe.
No, we're not staying till 9:30 tonight, so.
I think the harder part, that is probably fairly easy if we can all coordinate our schedules. I think we can make that work. This one lands on Jim, and that is, while Brock gave us kind of the overview, we haven't really discussed with the corporation what our other needs are. I mean, we've got buildings, we've got obligations already, loans and such. And if we do another project, let's say in a year or 2 years, I mean, this board seems to have a priority to want to continue the work with as much money as we can. But it would help me to say, okay, in 2026, you'll be working on Eastview, then 2027 or 2028, we come back. I don't know if it's possible for you to project our budget that far in advance to say, we'll have to tighten our belts and then we could have more money. What does tightening our belts look like? I think the fear, I'm just assuming this, the fear is we don't want to cut programming, we don't want to cut teachers, and we know we have reduced money. So, what that Jeremy's recent correspondence at one point listed, we're actually at a deficit, even though the state gave us money.
Correct.
Because of reduced enrollment and because of property tax changes in the law, we're actually going to lose money. I mean, we're going to lose a lot of money over the next 3 years. So,
Substantial.
It wasn't $169,000.
So that's just this year.
That's just this
That's
year.
just this year. We're starting in the hole 168 due to the drop in headcount. So that's gonna increase if headcount continues to drop. Then you have the additional 2028 $500,000 kicking in. So this is it's a perfect storm right now. That's what I'm seeing, and that's my worry moving forward for the school corporation. How can we insulate ourselves now? What can we do? And I think that's where I would hope the conversation would be currently. Like, what can we do? What does this look like moving forward? In projections, I can work on that, give me a little time, but that's my concern.
I think another thing I'd wonder from you is, given the dollars, I mean, I think we all love the idea of option 2. And
Sure.
I would benefit from hearing your recommendation of whether you think, we could do option 2 because we still have XYZ in operations and next year we'll have the, like something that would inform us if you feel like maybe we're not thinking about something right now.
So the 1.6 difference, 1.5, whatever it'll be after this moves forward, I'm not worried about the design contingency money and the soft costs. Those are things that are built in with any project. So I've seen projects where, I've done projects at IU, those funds are always there, right? They always put those there. Do you always exhaust them sometimes? Normally, yes. The furniture allowance, it is what it is. You want new furniture, obviously, that kind of stuff. My concern is building a little bit of capacity there as life skills continue to increase. I think the total number in the corporation now is nearing 100, is that right? 90 something? So that's increasing. Would it be a good idea to build some capacity there with that extra classroom? I think so. The 1.6 to me is not a lot of money when you're dealing with large construction projects like this. I've worked on building the gym at IU East, $35 million. There's always going to be something when you open a wall, asbestos, whatever it may be. So the contingency stuff doesn't really bother me. That's why it's there.
One of the things that was in, and again, I thought it was the correspondence from Jeremy, something about, or maybe Brock said this, how could this be? You could increase the school corporation's tax rate without impacting taxpayers. How can that be? Did I hear that right? Did Brock say that? That doesn't sound right.
Did he say that? I don't remember him saying that.
I printed off that stuff, that's why, because another option to this board is to increase the tax rate. And I think Brock did say the dollars would actually be minimal, and I think I would need to hear that again. I don't know if that was in the minutes, I cannot remember. I don't think it was spelled out, but I thought Brock mentioned.
He might have said that when he was up at the board talking.
Right, and that is an option for us, right? And what would that yield dollar-wise?
We kind of projected that. Yeah.
That might be something interesting. Okay. You guys have something that.
That's not exact math.
No, it's just
Giving
an
wiggle room.
explanation of what kind of involves special ed kids, because we have special education kids in every building, but Eastview has those that are not, have such handicaps that they are not, it's not practical for them to be mainstreamed into regular education classes, except perhaps art or music or something like that because of their disabilities. So we're treating them on their own level, all in one spot, which we didn't used to do. We used to have,
We've always had life skills. Life skills was in the Maplewood building.
Yeah.
And then when we repurposed Maplewood and made it the preschool, we then shifted those classrooms to Eastview. When I started as principal in Maplewood, we had one life skill classroom. When I left, we had 3.
Yeah.
And it is continuing, a population that continues to grow. And in our preschool, we started with 1, then we went to 2, and we're up to 3 classes. So when you project them going forward, that's going to increase that life skill population. And currently, we're only accounting for that population in 1 school. That's why the addition of that room is forward-thinking in the fact that we know in 2 to 3 years, these preschoolers are going to be at Eastview, and Eastview already is a school that K-6 is full in terms of their capacity, in terms of rooms. Like, there are no other rooms, like art and music. They have used every nook and cranny of that building possible to provide all of the things that they need for both the life skills sped kids and the general ed kids. So that's where that's what we have to decide, is going forward, Do we want to do the 1.6 to get the additional classroom so that we have that capacity as we know these kids are moving into the school? Otherwise, we would have to look at putting them in another school, and that gets very difficult with transportation.
So I was gonna ask that. So there is, and this is ignorant speaking, so I apologize, but there's a benefit, I am guessing, to have all your life skills in one building, rather than taking a classroom at another building and
absolutely.
adding one classroom.
Part of it is teacher licensing. Teachers have to have a specific license, and I'll be honest, it's very difficult to find a life skill teacher.
Okay.
So they have to be teacher of record, they have to have a certain degree and licensure to be a life skill teacher. Plus, a lot of them are on all kinds of different schedules, so it becomes a transportation issue. And we also want them to be within city limits so that they have access to medical care if for some reason they're medically fragile and need that. So that's why they've always been at one of our city schools.
Okay.
And again, sometimes it is, what you'll find with the life skill population is you have a tendency to have either a lot of little ones or a lot of older ones. And a lot of times with life skills students, when they're K2, they're still developmentally appropriate to be with their peers. And so when you put them with a 4, 5, and 6 class, sometimes it's more difficult to meet them where they are because they are developmentally appropriate and they do need that access to that general ed classroom. So then that gives you the flexibility to have the resources for those kids that are still maintaining with their typical peers. But then as you get to 4th, 5th, and 6th, sometimes that gap increases, and so they need more time in the self-contained classroom, but they still need access to like art, music, special ed, or PE, and all of those other resources.
And so our middle school life skills, they're at the high school?
They're at the high school because, again, it is just easier when you have
All in one
such a
building.
variety.
Got it.
In being a special needs parent, you know, special needs is like, every disability is a spectrum. You have kids from this end to this end, so it's not one size fits all. Like a general ed classroom where you can teach to 80% of your class. Every kid in that class has special needs that are usually particular to them, and some of them have very specific health needs on top of that, which requires us to have the space, requires us to have additional staff, and that's why having them all located in one building, if they are medically fragile, we have access to the local EMS, things like that. We get them to those facilities at a pretty quickly.
Thank you for explaining all that.
Yes.
That's an area I'm not familiar with.
Unfortunately, I'm very familiar.
I think for everyone that said in that meeting, we were all pretty much in agreement on option 2 was going to be the best down the road for all of us.
Option 2, but price 1.
I made it an option 2. I don't know how your math
I feel
works,
like
but
it
yeah.
can fit. I feel like it's doable.
Can we go forward with option 2 and then?
Sit with skill recession and say, we don't need this, we need this.
Well, I don't
We all
know how that
agree
would be
on that
possible,
additional.
to go with option 2 and put a cap on it.
I mean, if we go with option
Yes.
2 and we
I like that idea.
say, like, because it's the general consensus is everyone likes option 2, but we're concerned
I think so
about
now.
the, for lack of a better word, the double dipping or the,
Well, if they get high, I just figure with this, if we, which I chose, but they're already guessing high, which they're supposed to.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
feel like after this.
she thinks you can do option 2 at that price because you're high.
I took a picture of her math and I already sent it to Victor, and so Victor has sent us.
It's not right on, it's just
And
guessing
did you
high.
graduate from Huntersville High School? Because we can look up your math scores.
I told you it
What I
wasn't.
can do with Victor is, this is just a summary, so we reviewed the estimates with him and we went over in detail, but he has like a very detailed, and it is like, this hallway costs this much, but we didn't want to do that and the overwhelming with that. But it is broken down in detail, so it needs to go in the weeds on that to understand. I do think the confusion of the slide did kind of throw off because we typically put that because all those other items are put into the 25%. The fact that he broke them out, that's why we put that footer down there. So I just think there's confusion with his information, our slide footnote.
Okay, one thing I want to point out, because Jim just told me this, next week Jim is not really here much.
So we can do whatever we want when he's gone.
So if we don't need to vote for this, we just need a consensus
We're just
of
wanting
what
more
option.
information.
Can they go ahead and get the consensus of what option? Then can you get us the information and we share that information with them?
Yeah, so the more detailed cost estimate would be one, to see the option 1, option 2. We'll provide also, you have option 1 and option 2 here too, so you can see that kind of side by side in comparison. The other information I feel like you would need, I feel like that's it.
So if they decide tonight, like they are in consensus that they would like to move forward with option 2, then you go back and you get the information from Skillman and they are in agreement, then we can continue to move forward. If they don't like that, then what happens?
Then if you don't like that, what we would need to do is probably come back together, talk through a work session in detail. If we get to, and as I told you, there's multiple, we call it SD, which is schematic design, design development, and each one of those is a checkpoint of, we have to send all of our documentation to Skillman, they estimate it, and then we will be bringing it to the board, so you know, hey, we're trending in the right direction, it looks like this, or we may have a meeting where Katie's like, I want a 3rd bathroom. She would never do that, but when that happens, because sometimes they call that scope creep where it gets a little bit, we want to be transparent with you guys of, hey, we're not trending in the right direction. Now, Skillman works with Gibraltar to say, hey, let's put in some alternates to make sure that we are still getting that addition. We're doing that no matter what, but what are some logical things that you can do without?
That's what I was trying to say about the
Yes.
cap. Like, why can't we go with option 2 and then put some of those things as
Some
alternative
protections,
bids?
and then on bid day, it comes in.
Like your $400,000.
So then bid day comes in and you're like, hey, bids were great, we're going all in, let's add this, this, and this. Or the bids came in at this, we're still doing the addition, but we're gonna pull this back and we're gonna have to figure out a different way to do that.
And that's what Jeremy, and talking to him about it, his recommendation was that we go with option 2 and then put some alternative bids in to protect us from exceeding a number that you're not
Well,
comfortable with.
and we've done that before, Kim.
Yeah.
As I recall, when we were doing the
That allows us to get
when we have done the Frazee project, we had
Some
some
alternatives.
options.
Yeah, and that's why we went back with some of those contingency fees and
Yeah,
used them
and
because we
then
didn't have
we
those
actually
bids.
figured out we needed some more money for, because of some stuff that we found, so we had that flexibility, we were able to get a little bit more money for that.
So I have no problem voting on the concept now.
We don't need to vote, we just need to come to
Yeah, we need to
consensus.
go, I have no problem voting on that.
And then could he send an email and then I share that information with
Okay.
you? And then if you like it, we move forward, and if it's something that you don't feel comfortable with, then we schedule it. That way,
Right,
we
and
keep
I
the
was
process
even,
moving,
like,
because
I
we
was
are
even
getting down
looking
to
at the
the time.
27th, which is the day Jim's back. Who knows, Jeremy may be able to join us by remote, by video.
Jeremy probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, I mean, I don't know what everybody's schedule is, but I'm just throwing that out there. That's the beginning of the week, that's not a full 2 weeks.
27th is during fall break.
It is. It is during fall break.
So option 2 with price 1.
Option 2 with price 1.
So so the consensus of the board is that we go with option 2, then he gives us the additional information, and then we make a decision whether or not we go forward with the board session. And if you like the explanation comes across in the way that, I'm not sure you're gonna get price, but if you can agree with that, then that way we don't have to bring them back. But then if you aren't in consensus and you want to, then we know we have that date there and available, but
And we're
that way
definitely happy to come back, and I can turn around the information tomorrow. I'll take Skillman's detailed estimates and I'll create it like option 1 package, option 2 package, so you can see option 1 and then the detailed estimate behind it.
And I have one last question. Just trying to save money. If it doesn't get done on time, is there something that we can, the
like a
construction
pizza
that we can
delivery.
get our money back?
Yeah.
I was trying, I'm just
No.
trying.
No, but there's,
It's like the pizza delivery.
yeah.
Yes!
Can we put that in the contract?
Or a coupon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying, I'm sorry. Yeah, see, why not? I was thinking.
I will say Frazee looks really nice. I was in there the other day, the bathrooms are cool. Kids love it.
Chris, is there an option where we can have option 2 and Sasha do the math work?
Yes.
Yes, so we're gonna say
Sold.
Sasha's gonna do the estimates for
Done.
option 2.
Sold.
I just want that future special needs population.
I
To
agree,
me, that's
after
the most
listening to
important, that's
Kim,
why
I feel
I'm
like
really moved by that.
this is not gonna get resolved. If we don't do the addition, where are those kids
We're gonna be back
go?
here in 2 years.
Yeah, and it's,
And
it's like.
Ask Andy.
And if I could add a piece to that, the programming that you're putting into the life skills, which the sensory space, the washer and dryer, the right size restrooms, the changing tables that are right there in their space, that if you have to then do that at a different school, it costs double the money because you're going to do a sensory space there, you have to do a washer and dryer. So to have this ability, and it might not be you use the 4th classroom immediately, but I can tell you the way that Kate has used that space, they're going to use it for something until it is
Yeah,
time.
it's not gonna go in use.
To be able to
No,
be
it's-
used. There's an architect in our office that's already working on the documents, was like, hey, Chris, could we put restrooms here? And I was, as a temp, and I'm like, no, there's kids that learn in there. And he was like, in this space? I'm like, yeah, they're learning in all those different spaces that you see
It's
off the gym. So it is definitely packed.
So is it safe to say that, I'm hearing this correctly, that we'll figure out how the dollars shake out with Victor, okay? But it's okay for Gibraltar to proceed with the design documents for option 2?
Yes.
Yes.
And also know, again, we'll have 3 more visits before this
Yeah,
goes to
because-
bid and before Victor is up here and say, oh, we want approval to go bid. That is something that you'll take board action on. Those board documents, or those bid documents, you will have seen 3 different times, know exactly what's gonna be in it, what you're getting for your money, all those different details. If we have to put some protection in there, you'll know what those protections are. So this isn't like the last time that we're gonna be able to revisit. The design updates you'll see.
And then you'll send us the email and I'll send that to them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Appreciate your patience on this.
Before you
No,
leave,
it's
can
an
you give us an
important decision.
update on the pool?
I can tell you, I know that.
I know Victor would probably have them better.
Victor will probably have a better one. I know that he has met with Jeremy before, and I know he's continuing conversations to make sure that they know the timeline and contingency and all of that.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Chris. Thank
Thank you
you.
for the explanation.
Thanks,
Jim,
guys.
I didn't mean to make it sound like that's a requirement, but I do think that with all the uncertainties about the dollars, it's really hard to operationalize that in my mind. Like,
Sure.
if we're getting that much less money, and I'm not even talking about, right now about buildings, I'm just talking about our current offerings.
General fund dollars.
Right,
Right.
like,
For sure.
how are we, I'm guessing that you and Jeremy have already had some talks about how we're going to fit our current budget with less dollars. Like, how we're gonna fit our needs with less dollars, and I think that might be helpful for us to hear.
Okay, me and Jeremy talk all the time
Thank
about
you.
this, so yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know when that's the right time, but, you
Sure.
know, that's what holds a lot of this back, is this uncertainty about the future.
Absolutely.
And I don't know how we can get more certainty, and supposedly the legislature's gonna relook at this stuff, I
Yeah.
don't have.
Well,
There's nothing wrong with building out projections, so you guys
Yeah.
can estimate and see if enrollment continues to fall, taxes keep continuing to fall, all this kind of stuff. So we can build kind of a pro forma off of those rates and figures. And it's a manipulative kind of Excel sheet that I could build, so we can kind of look at it as a group maybe at some point.
Maybe even if we don't have to have a special meeting for this, if we're able to decide this through email.
Sure.
I just think at some point within the next few months that it would be good for me, and I'm guessing everybody else, to have a special meeting just to talk about the numbers.
Perfect.
where are we going? What does this look like in 3 years? And, costs are rising, so.
And cost rising.
How can we want to do what's in the best interest of our kids, and with all of the new stuff that they're having for graduation requirements, which are going to require different kinds of classes and we're going to have difficulty. The teacher shortage is incredibly real right now, and we're in a very competitive market. How do we keep up with this so we don't end up with 40 kids in a class, and the expectation from the state is still the same, that our test scores remain the same, and any classroom teacher can tell you you can be really good with 25, but when it gets up to 40, there's an awful lot lost. And I've done both over the years, and
My wife's the first grade teacher, so.
Huh?
My wife's the first grade teacher, so I.
If you get over 25 first graders, it becomes, 25 is pretty much tops.
Yep.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as submitted in the?
I so move.
I second.
All in favor? Okay, motion carries. Public comments, do we have? Okay, approval of minutes from regular business meeting of September 9th, 2025. Personnel report, recommendations for employment, background retirement, resignation, leaves of absence, approval of September claims, 7172.8 to 72.043. Donation, the donation of $17.61 from Michael Grizel, who sponsored a car show in memory of his friend Joe Connell. Michael and Joe were both former students at the Career Center. The money will be put into the Provision Machine Student Activity Fund to purchase various items.
Probably precision, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think it's a spell word.
Yeah.
That might be me. Correction. Precision. Fund to purchase various items for the students. Okay.
That's nice. That was really great that you donated that.
That's very nice. Kelly, the substitute list that you have here, are these new people that have signed up to substitute? Because I know we've been trying to get more and more substitute teachers. It's on the last page of this.
Yes, that is correct. Those are new subs.
We've just not seen this before.
Yeah, so we're gonna start adding sub
Okay.
folks on here so you guys can see them, but yes, it's a upskill battle to get subs at this point. Sub bus drivers too. And so Jeremy and I have talked quite a bit before he was out on how best we can market that and get that going and try to get better applicants. So I've tried Indeed here in the last couple of weeks too, trying to get stuff out on Indeed to see if that would get any applicants coming in. So we're trying.
Well,
So-
and at one point in time, we actually hired a service back a few years ago, and that was a disaster.
Disaster, yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah. And
It's not
so
successful.
Yeah.
we just, and our pay scale sub-wise is pretty much across the board for anybody else, so.
Yeah, true.
I am gonna add from this donation that the Joe Connell, he was killed in a car accident on September 28, 2011, and Michael and Joe were both students at the Career Center.
That's nice.
Okay.
My turn.
Consent agenda motion.
Sorry.
Yeah, so we're done with that, so motion to.
I will move this.
Second. All in favor, signify by raising your hand. Those opposed, okay, motion carries. Now, action items. Approval of resolution 2025-05 for appropriations.
Okay, so you should have this document in your packet. So this is the actual budget for 2026 that we upload to the state. So this has already been done. These figures are we already built this budget out. So these are the actual figures across the debt service, education, and operational funds. So I just need you guys to approve at this point, and we should be good.
I'll make the motion.
All in favor, signify by raising your hand. Those opposed, motion carries.
Okay, the next item is the capital projects. So this is kind of a rolling year-to-year thing that we just keep up with. Obviously, we can't get all this done. We kind of estimate out those figures, working with Daryl and others across the corporation, trying to figure out what things would cost. We will check them off and do them as money is available. Some of them are some high dollar things. And so, yeah, this is just a rolling list that the state likes for us to keep up with, upload to them so they can see what's on our mind as far as capital projects moving forward. So, any questions or anything?
I'll make a motion to approve the.
I will second.
We're moving now, buddy. Yeah,
All
we're
in
moving
favor,
now.
signify by raising your
Let's keep
hand.
going.
Those opposed?
Yes.
Okay, so the next item is the bus replacement plan, and so me and Daryl kind of met. So he's the bus man, I call him the bus man, so he knows more about busing than any other human on the planet. So we're probably gonna need 3 larger buses and maybe 1 activity bus. So I don't know if Daryl wants to speak to that and how it's affected
Yeah, I
the
was just
different
wondering what
routes.
the price difference would be with those larger buses. I know that was.
Actually, if you go with a 72 passenger versus a 66, you save $5,000.
They're cheaper. That's why I put them on.
Because they don't want to make 66 no more, they want to make 72.
yes.
So that's set up for
Great.
that. So I buy a
That's
six-
perfect.
If you buy a 66 passenger and try to buy a seat for it, it's $1,000. But if we go to 72, we save 5,000.
So is that going to be Gibraltar's new plan? Is if you go with the
That's
addition,
caution.
bigger is
Save money.
cheaper than going with the
Let's focus.
Let's look moving forward.
We're good.
She's slap happy.
We are trying to go with bigger buses now because with less drivers, we're having to add
Good point.
additional areas in different places. So we actually have 2 84 passengers on right now. The problem is when you have 84 passengers, you just about have to have bus aids on those buses because there's a lot of kids on that bus. So that's why we're looking at more bus aids because it's getting to be fuller and fuller. We have 5 buses, I think, that are 66 passengers that we have 50 to 52 kids on right now. So I mean, pretty full buses for the drivers.
Thank you, sir.
Make the motion.
Second. All in favor, signify by raising your hand. Those opposed, motion carries. Transfer amount from education fund.
Okay, so resolution number 2025-8. So this is, I think Randy talked about this a little bit last. We're allowed to transfer
Yes.
15%. Most school corporations do it. We've done it forever here, is what I can tell. So just seeking your approval to continue to do that.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
Those in favor, signify by raising your hand. Those opposed, okay, motion carries. Why are you laughing?
No reason.
No reason, we're good.
Approval of classified salary changes.
Okay, so I'm proposing that, based on budget and everything, we're gonna do 2% across all the classified folks for the next budget cycle. So this kind of, and then, so we're also increasing the sub-teacher pay by $5 across all those 3 categories as well too. We're doing all we can to try to get subs at this point, so. So yeah, 2% across all of those folks. So I'm estimating it's probably 115 grand total, which we can afford at this point. So I figure we should do it. It still keeps us in
Absolutely.
a good place within the market, to compete against the Walmarts and all that kind of stuff too, so, yeah. So, any questions or?
Make the motion.
Motion second.
Second.
All in favor, signify by raising your hand. Motion carries. Okay, policies.
Okay. This is the second reading of the policies that Jeremy shared with you last month. The first one, A350, the civility and decorum policy, is just the corporation's commitment to fostering a respectful and supportive learning environment and free from disruptive or hostile behavior. D225 is employee ethics, just outlines the expectations for Fayette County employees to uphold their highest ethical and professional standards. We have D300, alcohol and controlled substance policy for CDL. That just says that our corporation employees that are holding a CDL or working in a safety sensitive positions remain free from alcohol and substance abuse. And they must comply with the federal mandate testing program.
D, 375, employee discipline. As Jeremy said, this is unfortunately something that we have to have in place, but we don't like to have in place. But if for some reason we do have to do this, this grants the superintendent the authority to place employees on a leave of absence during an investigation, or gives him the right to follow any kind of disciplinary consequences. D, 425 is employee benefits. This just outlines how benefits are for the Fayette County employees are determined and administered. D, 500, school resource officer. This just is saying that our SROs must complete 40 hours of approved training within the 180 days of being assigned to their duties. Yeah, that's standard. G100, facility and transportation safety. This just affirms that the school corporation has a commitment to taking all reasonable measures to ensure the safety of all students, staff, visitors, and patrons. H225, public comments and concerns. This is to encourage input from the community, but also allows us to say that individuals must complete the appropriate form and submit it to the executive secretary or superintendent prior to the start of the meeting. So if there are no questions on those, I just need approval for those.
That's someone.
Okay.
I second.
All in favor, signify by raising your hand. Motion carries. Adopt resolution 2025-09.
So resolution determining need for project, Exhibit A. So as required by the school leasing statute, IC 20-47-3, the board must make a determination by resolution that there is a need for the project. So that's exactly what this is saying concerning the Eastview project. So
Is that for all that, is that the, each exhibit, exhibit A, B?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Clarifying.
We have a motion.
Yes. We have a motion on that one?
No, but
I was reading that, just to make sure. Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, signify by raising your hand.
Erica first,
Who's second?
second.
And?
I did.
Yeah, we might need to slow this down a little bit.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to
Okay.
finish, but I think for Robert's rules, we need to be a little clearer.
Good. So resolution approving form of lease Exhibit B. The school corporation is funding this project through a lease financing as it has done with other past construction and renovation projects. Lease financing are used by school corporations across Indiana in order to borrow for renovation and construction. This type of financing does not count against the school corporation's constitutional debt allowance. At the closing, the building corporation will purchase the Eastview Elementary School building for at least the appraisal value. The building corporation will then lease the building back to the school corporation. The lease rental due from the school corporation will be paid from the property taxes. The lease rental, as shown as a maximum amount in the lease, will be sufficient to pay the principal and interest due to the bondholders.
And this is pretty standard, right? I know when the classified ran, I had a patron contact me and just said, why are you leasing out our buildings? And that's why Jeremy sent us the description. And he told me I had to send it to this person. It is still a little confusing. And it must have been created when we did the middle school remodel, that it's called the Middle School Building Corp.
CMS building.
CMS
Yeah.
Building Corp.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
And that debt is finally falling off.
30 years later.
Yeah.
So you need a motion on that one?
Motion.
Second.
I'll-
All in favor, signify by raising your right hand.
I guess I seconded it.
Okay.
Erica
Sorry,
was.
can you not see around me? I'm sorry. Can you see around me? I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, resolution reapproving building corporation Exhibit C. For the building corporation, a non-for-profit Indiana corporation, to issue tax-exempt bonds, the IRS requires that the school board reapproves the building corporation and authorizes it to issue tax-exempt bonds on behalf of the school corporation.
This is just doing what, because the CMS one, the bond finally is gone.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
basically, this is just doing the same thing with the new bond.
Correct.
Absolutely correct.
Erica?
I'll make a motion.
All in favor, signify by raising your hand. Okay, we do have an approval of resignation for District 3. We need to vote on. Ryan is resigning. He emailed, submitted the letter today. Due to work, he's stepping down. He didn't expect his role to happen like it did. Do you want me to read this?
I think it's important, just because I think there was some confusion in the public about why Ryan wasn't here. But he took a new job in the fall, and he's the manager of a business. And so if employees don't show up, and unfortunately in this day and age, employees don't show up, he has unfortunately had to stay late, and he has not. And so go ahead, I think that's just important as a backdrop for, but I think, yeah, you should read it.
Dear members of the board, please accept this letter as my formal resignation from my position as a member of the Fayette County School Board, effective October 14, 2025. It has been an honor to serve the students, family, and staff of Fayette County. I am grateful for the opportunity to work alongside such dedicated educators, administrators, and fellow board members who share a deep commitment in improving our schools and supporting our community. This decision was not made lightly, but after careful consideration, I feel that it is time for me to step aside. I have not been able to fulfill the role as I feel a board member should, especially the president. Unfortunately, my career has the requirements that stop me from being able to be the best board member I can be. I remain confident in the board's continued dedication to the success of Fayette County students, and I wish you all the very best moving forward. Thank you again for the privilege of serving. Respectfully, Ryan Baker. So,
And before we vote on that, Kim, can you share for the public what the steps are?
Sure. So, once Ryan resigns and it notifies the clerk then notifies us, and I did speak to Dawn today. And then that allows us to move forward with the 30-day timeline of appointing someone to fill that vacant spot. So if it is District 3, and I did put a map in your handout of what District 3 looks like. It is a lot of the city, and it is also, District 3 includes Connersville Township, all precincts except Precinct 11, Harrison Township precincts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. So if anybody resides within District 3, they have the opportunity to file an application here at central office. The only thing that they need to have with them when they do submit their letter of interest is they need to make sure that they have resident documentation, which means they can include a copy of their driver's license, voter's registrations, or a property tax receipt. That's just so that we know that they do reside and they have lived there for at least 1 year. Once those are collected here at central office, I think we talked October 24th, we would accept those until October 24th, which would give us about 2 weeks, because there is a 30-day timeline. Then we will have to hold an executive session for you to review the letters of interest. Once we decide who you would like to interview, then we will go forward and notify those candidates that you will be interviewing them. Then we would interview them, and then because Ryan did not designate a political party, it allows the board to have the majority vote. Had he said he was Republican or Democrat or defined that, then we would have had to go to a different route. But because he didn't claim any political party, it allows you as the board to appoint that person by majority vote. If we don't do that within the 30-day timeline, then it can go to the judge and they can assign someone. So we definitely want to get moving on the timeline. I've spoken to Dawn, Dawn's aware of it, we have everything filed with her correctly. So at this point, it's just getting people who are interested, that live in that district, to submit their letter of interest to us, and as soon as we get to October 24th, then I will allow you guys to know who those people are, and then we'll set an executive session for you guys to review those applications.
I have a question, is the application online or is it physical?
It's just a letter, it is
Oh.
just a letter of interest.
Oh, okay. It's
And
not
a
an
copy,
app.
and if they want to come in, and Jane can make a copy of the documentation for them. So it's just a letter of interest at this point.
Kim, when we've had these before, we've had basically a daily newspaper, and that's been very well advertised there. Now the newspaper is only once a week, and it will miss this week's, obviously. So how, are we gonna put this out on
Yeah.
social?
We have, once it's voted on tonight, we have a release that'll go on our webpage and and we'll send it out to our parents. And then we will send it to the newspaper, but you're right, we only have a Wednesday paper.
Well, because statutorily, they want it, so people know that it's.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, so we will start, we will start advertising this first thing in the morning.
Okay.
And Bob, is that something prior to a week from Wednesday's paper that you can put on?
I can put it on our social media and webpage and all that.
Okay, perfect.
And I plan to.
Right, I know we have probably the legal obligation to have it printed in the paper, however they do that, but I didn't think that prevented us from doing something
Yeah,
before.
and we have that ready to go, so as soon
Okay.
as we vote on it tonight, and we'll get that moving in the morning.
Kim, you might mention the years he has left on his
Oh.
term.
He has the rest of this year and next year, so he
Yeah, he's
will
still for
be
re-election.
up. So it will be, this person will be appointed just for the remaining
Remainder of his term.
and then when the election for that person goes up, then he
The
would have to
election
run.
is in the fall of 2026.
Yes.
And it would go then January 2027.
Yes, thank you.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to accept.
Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, signify by raising your hand. Motion carries.
I just
Sasha, by vote, I think I'm the only one here that actually came on this board through that process. I was interviewed, we had an opening.
Actually, I was too, back in 2009.
I didn't realize that,
Yeah.
so it was cool.
It was done differently when I was doing it. They had all 5 of us in a line out there, and they asked a question, and they started with number 1, and all of us had to answer, then the next question started with number 2, and then, oh, it was terrible.
So, and we had to, Chris, we had to do it when nobody ran for Andy.
Yeah.
And see.
That's what we
When
appointed
Jeremy Williams came on the board.
Do it when Cory Powell died.
Yeah, we've done it several times, unfortunately.
I just want to say that I'm
Can't see us.
very grateful for Ryan's service to the school board.
Absolutely.
Yes.
He was, he's patient, he's thoughtful, he doesn't react strongly, he considers all sides of the issue, and we've been very fortunate to have him, and I'm sorry that his job was a conflict, but we know that comes first.
Happens.
By law, we have to have a public meeting to discuss tentative teacher collective bargaining agreement.
Okay, so welcome to the tentative agreement meeting, everybody. So we have a tentative agreement with the teachers union. So we had a good 2 days of bargaining with them. It was my first time bargaining with the teachers union, and I thought it was pretty smooth. Less than a shot at stopping over there. So
We have a good group.
so we have about, I guess I can step through, I gave you a packet of information too, of the 12 items that we kind of bargained on. So they should be in there too, or I can step through the slides that we worked along with the bargaining group, either way. So a majority of what they wanted was kind of ECA extracurricular stuff, which was very nominal dollars, very small dollars that we could afford to do. The big ones that obviously were the pay increases, so I think we could fund about $1,000 to their base. And then they have the literacy endorsement too, of about $200. So these faculty could get $1,200 added to their base. If they got that endorsement as well for the 2026 year. What else?
Insurance.
Insurance, so yeah, so insurance costs went up 4%, so I can kind of step through maybe. So you guys can see. So, this thing is touchy. Sorry, okay. So, this is fiscal year 2026 base funding, so right now we're paying, or we're getting $79.48 per head count, right, per student. So the 152 minus is the textbook funds. So we're getting $77.96 per student. So if you take that difference, you take that difference from $76.84, we're getting $112 more this 2026 year versus last year per student. Right, so it's nominal, your fault, okay.
Yeah, I
So
was like,
here it's coming.
Here comes the but.
So here comes, yes. So this is where I'm concerned. So this is where the enrollment trend is happening, right? So right now we're off about 63 students from last year. Right, so that's even more than I was a little worried, so.
Yeah, our official ADM came in at 2808.
Yeah, so we lost 2 more, and then we got
Gained
what, a bunch,
six.
we got.
We gained
got-
6
We
the
gained
next
6
day,
the very
like
next day after it counted.
That's how it
get that
works.
So-
We don't get that.
I wish the state would do a rolling average kind of count or something, but I'm not in charge, so. Okay, so this is the new money, so that if you take that 112 per child times the 2811, you're getting 314,000 new dollars, okay? This thing is bad, sorry. So this is the lost enrollment money off of those 63 kids that we lost, right? It's 484,000. So the difference is 169,260. So that's what we're starting in the hole. Okay, so that plus we have 4% increase to insurance, and that worked out to be 109 grand. So we're
For the
already
corporations.
for the corporation. Yeah,
And we
so-
do have some of the best insurance in the.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's
We
great.
we have the best
Yeah.
insurance.
Yeah, it's a real perk.
Yeah, so here's the insurance contributions from the corporation currently versus others around us. So yeah, we do a really good job. I think we have
Particularly
stellar
on the-
benefits.
Particularly on the family, just look at
Absolutely.
the difference. It's double what they get in Union County, and
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
they can't touch it.
Yeah. So, and then teacher starting pay, we're at $45.50, that'll go up to $46.50, right? We're gonna add $1,000 to that pay, so it'll be even better next year. So I think our teacher pay starting is pretty
Normal.
pretty comparable to others, right? So this slide here, me and Jeremy built out, so this is like a mid-level teacher. So you can tell that we're quite significantly
Yeah, this is
higher than
where we start
others.
stepping
This is where
away.
we start
Yeah.
stepping, yeah. So like even my wife, she's a first grade teacher for 23 years. If she came down here and told us she would make 12 grand more just by coming here. So she's like, maybe we're moving to Connersville. Yeah.
Come on.
So.
Come on down.
So here's top pay, so I think we pay even our teachers that have been here for a long time quite well. And I think we stressed that to the teachers union group, and I think they heard us, they know that, I think, so.
Well, I think with the competitiveness of the market, they're very well aware of what's going on in the other school corporations.
Oh yeah, they have friends.
They have friends, yeah.
Yeah. So these are the 12, this mouse is very touchy, sorry. So these are the 12 items that we kind of agreed to.
I think we agreed to everything that
Pretty much.
they asked on this part, on the.
Correct, all the
The
ECA stuff,
extracurricular.
yes, we pretty much agreed to everything. They're very nominal dollars, and we can set through them. Girls wrestling needs a coach by law. I think they can't wrestle with boys anymore, they have to have a women's coach. So these kind of stuff that we all agreed to. Let's get down to, So.
We did give 2 extra
We did
days.
give
sick
2 extra
days.
days, yeah.
And we moved up the time on the guidance counselors because
Yep.
a lot of them were working for free before school started.
Yes, and so the 2 guidance counselors, after some research, one was on a 195-day contract, one was on a 196-day contract, so that was weird after I started looking. So we moved into a 200-day contract in a nominal amount to help cover what they were really doing.
Yeah.
Let's see, lead days went from, yeah, we added 2, so
Yeah,
up to
from
12.
10 to 12.
12.
Yeah. So we added another $1,000 to the dual credit pot of money for teachers that are teaching dual credit. So these were very nominal stuff, very small.
Classroom coverage stipend
Classroom.
went up $5.
Yeah, 25 to 30. Yeah.
Yeah, we heard some pretty tough stories
Yeah.
about the high school.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Kelly is too aware of teachers that are taking 2 classes at a time. I don't know if there's any doing 3.
So I can tell you admin's also been.
Yeah, they've been.
And admin has been also covering.
So-
And we're,
Classes in the auditorium.
and not just prep periods. I mean, it's a teacher who has her own class and then taking on another class whose teacher's absent, and they may be totally different subjects.
Wow.
Because Amanda Sleet said, like, she's psychology, but she may have, I don't know, math or
Another
something.
Welcome
need
to the one
subs
room
back.
schoolhouse.
We need
Yes.
subs.
Yeah, we need subs, for sure. So. So yeah, I think the bargaining was pretty smooth. It was pretty enjoyable experience. I mean, this was fine. So yeah, we could, and I think they were happy to see transparency from us as far as the dollars, and we kind of delved into the dollars a little bit more with them, obviously, to show them what we were doing. Insurance, classified, certified, what everybody was getting. We were very transparent. I think they appreciated that. So.
That's the end of the meeting for the CBA.
Persons wishing to make the board aware? Anybody? ISBA report?
Just, regional meeting is coming, and I saw my notice, so I'm guessing Kelly already registered those of us who
I did too.
were going, so that's it. And, just last request, if anybody wants to go to COSBA, I think the 3 board members who are going have all said we'd like to go that pre-conference, and it's held at the Galt House, and I looked today, and the Galt House still has rooms, and that's where the conference is, and the rate was pretty good.
Okay.
So.
I'll get on that.
Pardon?
I'll get on that.
Yeah, and I mean, we haven't, I don't know if Jeremy's gonna go to the pre-conference with us, but we're gonna drive, so, and I didn't know if anybody else wanted to jump in and let Kelly know before.
I'm waiting on, he's gonna email me a couple things that I'd asked for price-wise before I make my decision.
I haven't forgot you.
And then superintendent's discussion. Principals, directors report.
Our teacher conference is tomorrow. Students don't have school. The high school will be open from 8:30 to 10, and then 1:30 to 3:30 for parents to come walk their student schedules and talk to teachers.
Director of operations report.
Oh, the fun report, yeah, so, fun report. So, I think the fun report's pretty good, I don't see any, there's nothing that kind of worries me. Again, I think financially, we're stable, we do a good job. I tell Daryl no a lot when he's trying to spin stuff. He is paying attention. All right, Daryl. So,
I got him to put new LED lights in the high school, so.
There, I got you the money for that. Anyway, so, no, in all seriousness, I think everything is good, so.
So do we maintain a pretty healthy cash balance?
We do.
Okay.
So, yeah, the cash balance is good, you know, we have that, I don't like to call them slush funds, but the petty cash fund is there,
Yeah.
so we're healthy.
Okay.
Again, my worry is moving forward.
Right, yeah.
The next
As of
couple,
today,
next couple
we're good.
years, so, yeah.
weird how you get a different answer than I do every time I answer something. It's love hate with you, Daryl, I'm sorry.
Assistant Superintendent's report.
Okay, just a few things. As Kelly said, tomorrow is a parent conference day as well as a professional day. So in the morning, our teachers will be doing some professional development, and then in the afternoon, they will hold parent-teacher conferences. We have had some questions. It is not an e-learning day. There are no e-learning assignments, so students do not have any responsibility tomorrow other than to be kids and have fun. Also, want to recognize the band. They took away, was it first?
It was a gold rating and
They got a gold.
scholastic competition.
Yeah, so
First time in
kudos.
school history.
First time in school history, so kudos to them. And then also wanted to express Jeremy's gratitude for all the kindness and the people coming in. We have people here every day almost bringing in gifts and asking about him, and he's just been overwhelmed with the incredible kindness of the community and the people who work here, and he's doing very well, and we hope to see his face back here, and knowing him, he'll be here as soon as he can.
Hopefully he's not still watching.
Yes. As soon as his wife allows him to work, he will be here, but he just wanted to make sure that the community and all of you knew how much he appreciated your thoughts and your kindness during this incredibly tough time. So that's all I have.
I'm sure you could say hi to him, I think he's watching.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's watching this.
Yes.
Hi, Jeremy.
Go to
Well,
bed.
what we can say is, it's been really quiet.
It
Or
has.
It has been really quiet. But we do miss knowing what's going on in the district.
Yeah.
Yes, he's
Filling
much
us
better
in
at
on
that
lots of
than I
different
am.
details.
Yes, I agree.
For the good of the cause.
I wanted to acknowledge the marching band, and then, that's not a step, and then, I don't know if this was at the last meeting, that Chris Bloom has had the winningest tennis team in history, I think, is that right? Is it in the history of Fayette County Schools? He's just, that's been great with the assistant coaches. I mean, they've got a great team, so just wanted to acknowledge them. And I think over fall break is the school play, is that correct?
It is, it's the weekend of the 24th, but before that, choir concert is
Yeah.
Monday night.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which time night?
Monday night is the choir concert.
Yes.
This coming Monday?
Yes.
Okay.
The 20th.
With middle school and high school participating at the Rotary, 7 o'clock?
I believe 7, don't quote me on that, I'll post it again tomorrow.
Yeah,
I think it is.
thank you, please do.
I
Yes,
did
it's
want
on
to
15
call
a.m.
out, I know you informed us about Daryl
Yes.
being very involved
Monday.
in the, where the lady was hit by the vehicle, and he's been getting things like
There's a lot going on. We talked to the mayor today. I mean, we got lights going up and street lights and different things, so it's in progress. It's not, the state don't get in a real big hurry, but they're gonna help us, so it's moving forward. So, we got lighted vests that should be coming in soon, like next week, I think, and so we have also taken training on how to train those guys to do their job, to help them be safer. And the city has agreed to, we're gonna work together to do that with them, so it's gonna be a good partnership.
Yeah, and our thoughts go out to that family as well.
For sure.
And also the bleachers, because after all of the aggravation that we went through, for those of us that are challenged as far as mobility, there are handrails, there are ramps, and having been there the last 2 times that they were available, this is fantastic. The general public is very, very pleased. Wish we'd had it earlier, but they're very, very pleased with with the new bleachers and how they're working, and the fact that there's a little space between the press box and the visitors. For those of us that have been in the press box and have heard untimely comments sometimes from those right outside the window, it keeps them from being expressed over the intercom, shall we say.
Yes.
But the bleachers are really, really nice, and much, much safer, safety-wise, and being able to view the field is really great. So they were worth the wait.
I just want to give a shout out. I called Daryl, followed some buses home one day out in the country, and
They got a tough time out there on that road on 300 North and fitting the buses with the semis, because sometimes the semis don't want to get over. So kudos to how that situation was handled.
Because of the harvest, is that what you're talking about? The
Um,
semis for,
yeah.
it's 300, for
300 North, there's, well, they have the production out there, the pumpkins.
Oh, right,
and all
right,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
so,
A lot
yeah.
of traffic.
A lot of traffic, yeah.
But I passed that along, thank you, they were very appreciative.
Yes. Do an amazing job. Just wanted to shout out to them.
Do I have a
I was
motion to
creeping.
adjourn?
Chris, do.
I
I was
second.
gonna say,
Listen,
all in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, motion carries.
Make sure you sign stuff, right?
Yes, sign.